What's poppin', people? It's Dante. I'm here along the Schuylkill River Trail in Philadelphia, one of the 10 best cities to visit on the planet. Philly, baby. Thanks, Lonely Planet. What's Lonely Planet? Ooh, maybe that window is interesting in a photograph. Let's go snap focus infinity. Yeah, I like that window. See, it's interesting actually. It's like the only light that's on in the house. And so yeah, I've got my Ricoh GR3 set to high contrast. Oh, you know what's the problem with the glove and having I gotta make sure I get the camera on the wrist strap actually, so I don't get my finger in the frame. This is a nice angle. You know, today is a beautiful day. The water is still, right? It's actually really warm right now, surprisingly. I think the snow is starting to melt. Maybe it's gonna rain tomorrow. It rained. It's 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Thanks, Pico. Got the information over there on the billboard. And yeah, I think man, I love photography. It's just such a beautiful way to start the day. It's like a hike in nature and photography. They just go hand in hand, and it's like this path here, the Schuylkill River Trail, this is the greatest path in the world. I fucking love the Schuylkill River Trail. I love biking here, right? I can go for endless miles, it seems like. I like riding all the way to Valley Forge, which is like, I guess like 20 miles up, 20 miles back. It's like a nice 40-50 mile ride or whatever, going there and back. And yeah, a good 2 hours on the bike, you know, kind of just like zen out and sort of just watch the trees pass by as you're biking, or even just hiking and walking along. Like, there's really something here in nature that I love and adore. And to me, you know, like watching the birds fly by in the morning, you know, it just reminds me of the beauty in the world, and it affirms life and gives life meaning. You know, where maybe in this modern world, in cities specifically, life can feel like a bore or a tragedy, or perhaps just not meaningful. But actually, recognizing our connection to nature and these sort of things, and all of the people around us, and being in a city filled with, you know, diversity and lots of different people, it's a beautiful sort of thought where, you know, we're all connected, right? Where you could live until you're 120 years old and still not see everything on this planet. Like, that is an inspiring thought. That keeps me walking. That keeps me moving. That keeps me going each day with curiosity. You know, when I was a kid, actually, my godmother, my Aunt Victoria, she was actually a nun for like 40 years in the convent. And her husband, my Uncle Bill, he's actually who introduced me to photography and taught me camera settings. He taught me how to set things up on the camera, how to photograph, how to see. My Uncle Bill, you know, God rest his soul, he taught me how to see. He took me to the mall and he showed me how to operate a Leica M3. Imagine having someone in your family with a Leica M3. It's like, wow, I can learn on the best camera ever crafted. That's cool. So maybe I had a cheat sheet when I started. But yeah, my Aunt Vicky, you know, she would I'm interested in these like lights and like the lines here of this bridge and the sort of, I guess, what you call juxtaposition between the nature and man-made and all these kind of ideas. But I'm just interested in what it looks like in a photograph at the end of the day. It's like, what will reality manifest to be in a photograph? You know, throw away all the other basic notions, I guess, like juxtaposition, this and that. I mean, there are things that we like just speak about and it's like a bunch of jargon. Who cares? But yeah, maybe the juxtaposition is more of an academic way of thinking, right? For my Uncle Bill, when we were in the mall and he gave me the camera, he would point at things like, oh, there's the merry-go-round, right? If you set the shutter speed to 1/30th of a second and you stand still and you press the shutter as the merry-go-round is moving, you'll see motion blur. But then he showed me the shutter speed. He said, if you set this to 1/500th of a second and you press the shutter, the merry-go-round will appear to be still, right? And then he took me to the Build-A-Bear workshop, and we were looking at the advertisements plastered on the walls. And he was, you know, trying to show me how you can put things together in a frame, right? He was trying to show me how to understand the world around me with curiosity and creativity, right? He was showing me the advertisement of the bear on the wall, and then, you know, the actual bears in the workshop, right? These little toy teddy bears, and like the people that were walking by with the bears, and he was explaining to me, you can make these relationships, right, and sort of make order with the chaos, essentially, right, by looking at the bear in real life and the bear on the advertisement and putting those puzzle pieces together and recognizing the sort of weird spontaneous connections that can occur was something that unlocked in my brain very early on. And I'm very grateful for my Uncle Bill and the way he showed me how to operate a camera and how to think about the world in front of me ultimately, and how to make sense of things. For what is photography but merely a visual game and a physical pleasure? I think of photography like it's just visual problem solving. It's like, where must I position myself and the camera, right? What will I include and exclude from the frame? And then when will I press the shutter, right? How to make visual harmony out of chaos, right? To wield the camera like a sword and cut through the chaos and the spontaneous nature of everyday life and put order and harmony to it. You know, this is a notion I actually like to think about. And so, yeah, maybe thinking of the juxtaposition this morning about my relationship to the medium, my early days. I was like 16 or something. And so, yeah, so my aunt and my uncle, they were both a nun and a priest, and they both, you know, they didn't have any children, but they had this incredible house in the mountains. And my Uncle Bill, he built the house, and it's like off the grid. Like, think like, we off the grid. Like, this was real, like, this is like off the grid, like, you know, somehow filtered the water through the stream so it was at the perfect temperature, composting, made a little pond, built the home. You know, beautiful balcony overlooking a lake. I would spend my childhood fishing in the lake, connecting with nature. We would build our own fishing rods, right? We would make fishing rods with sticks and dental floss and use paper clips and apples. And I remember catching my first little wimpy fish. My brother, he always caught the bigger fish. What was that? He always got lucky. What is that? I always had the shitty little fish. My brother would catch the big one. But, you know, there's something about that, right? Being a priest and a nun, they would never teach us about Catholicism. We would go to church, we would pray, but we wouldn't sit around and, you know, learn about the Bible and study. What we would do is connect with nature. When I think about that and the sort of lifestyle that they live, it really does help me recognize what maybe truly matters. And so, yeah, a connection to nature, it's just something to contemplate upon, right? And this past year I spent with my aunt gardening, and, you know, that was just a really nice thing. It was very life-affirming to sort of connect with the soil and make a garden, watch the tomatoes grow, harvesting, and then enjoying the fruits of our labor. It was a nice way to spend the spring. And you know what we would do, like we we would often go to the mountains, you know, hike around the lake, fishing, canoeing. You know, that's an exercise. Perhaps happiness, right? And these sort of notions of bliss and joy, like this maybe isn't the goal. Like, I actually think that happiness, bliss, these joyful, happy feelings are extremely simple. For our connection to nature, right, is what gives us that feeling, right? The sun, right? The sun gives me power. I have meat, salt, and water, the holy trinity for man. And, you know, that's giving me that blissful feeling. You know, I have good coffee. That's another thing. So like these very simple things, it's like walking and like the physical nature, right? Like canoeing, like that's a physical, you know, that's a workout. Like that's pretty, maybe that's a good thing. I feel like in Philadelphia, using the Schuylkill River, I mean, that's actually maybe a really good hobby or activity or whatever. It's a good one. But I like to walk, right? And lifting weights, right? These very simple physical sort of things are what keep me happy, right? I pick up heavy thing, put heavy thing down. Oh, I'm happy. That was quite easy. And so I think about this because happiness maybe is just a really base thing. It's like, it's a very easy goal to achieve. And what are we to do about this? What ultimately is the goal? Perhaps to transcend and to go beyond, to evolve and to sort of conquer. You know, to use the camera as the sword. You know, I don't have a sword and shield. I'm not a real conqueror. I used to be an adventurer, but then I took an arrow to the knee, right? That's the best NPC in Skyrim. I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee. And so, yeah, perhaps to sort of conquer photography and to create beautiful works of art is what ultimately fuels my lust for life and gives my life meaning and affirms life for me through weightlifting and even through fasting, right? Where I believe that fasting, you know, it's sort of has changed my life this past year. It's helped me, and I suggest it. I mean, I do the 24-hour daily fasting and eat one massive meal of meat at night, and I feel like I have unlimited power and creative energy, whatever that is. Maybe it's better to think of it as power, not energy. Like energy seems like this weird, like metaphysical kind of thing. But power is real, derives from within. And so my Aunt Vicky, she would read me books when I was a kid, the Thomas the Tank Engine books. I think I can, right? Thomas the Tank, chugging up the mountain. And now as an adult, I know I can, right? What we did was connect with nature and ultimately find ways to believe in yourself, right? Like, so like thinking of that, you know, children's story, like I think I can. It's mostly just a way for you to it's like it's affirming, it's life affirming, right? To believe in yourself is maybe the most critical thing here. And finding meaning through the creation of art is a very powerful thing. For maybe that is the most beautiful thing that we can leave behind. And you know, I'm very grateful for her. You know, perhaps without my Aunt Vicky, I would never have learned about photography. I mean, my Uncle Bill showed me how to use the camera and how to think about photography and how to see the world very early on. And for that, I'm forever thankful, because it essentially has propelled me through life, where not only do I think I can, I know I can with every press of the shutter. And it's very, 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 very interesting. Like, the motivation ultimately is in our legs, right? Through moving our physical body through the world and recognizing that the path is endless, where we can continuously walk the same lane every single day, but always find something to uplift in a photograph and to champion this experience, to champion humanity, and to treat the people on the street as heroes and to uplift them, I believe is the goal of the street photographer, as the bystander, as the participant in life. Perhaps to make street photographs, ultimately the goal is to be as authentic as possible, right? The goal of street photography is to perhaps remain authentic, to embrace the spontaneous nature of life, to recognize the patterns in both nature and human behavior, and seeing from a raw, an unfiltered, a candid perspective where life ain't perfect, right? Imperfection is everywhere. But perhaps to shed light on these things is the goal. And so life is meaningful, and making photographs, lifting weights, walking, connecting with nature, these simple things can affirm that. And just need to be careful and do the penguin walk on the ice. Seems like the ice is starting to melt, which is good. The seasons will change. The sun will rise. The water is still today. But to find myself at an elevated space in the morning is what provides me with this endless curiosity, ultimately. It's like, look at the flickering light. What does it mean? Look at the beautiful architecture, the rock formations, the waterfall, the beautiful boathouses, the train passing by. I love when I see the train passing by. Where is it leading? Where is it going? To look out at the horizon, to look out at the trees. For the beauty of Philadelphia lies in our green spaces. And I believe we should champion these spaces as Philadelphians, as humans, as people of the world, to connect with nature, even living in an urban environment like the city. Perhaps will help you find meaning in life. And so here we are at the pavilion. I will stay clear of the treacherous path over there today because of the ice. I usually like to stand upon that little rock formation there, but yeah, just some thoughts for the morning. Foggy Philadelphia, beautiful day, beautiful morning. Affirm life and find meaning in the mundane. Perhaps that's the name of the game.